battling the Red Robins. Start things first with the ceremony, and if you've ever had a young person that you were close to die at the age that Kurt did, you know what a tough moment that certainly is. For Kurt's family and friends, one more opportunity to say goodbye and thank you to all the supporters.
If there was ever someone who was never afraid to show others how to succeed in life, it was Kurt. And if there was ever someone who was never afraid to stand up and overcome adversity, it was Kurt. Kurt Herman showed so many people, so many things, but one thing is for sure, Kurt showed every one of us what it takes to be a leader.
And Kurt Herman, not the kind of guy you forget, and especially when Brian Paulson, number 20, will wear his number. You can see that was a pretty touching moment as well. This ceremony, not just a tribute to Kurt, but I think to all the Antigo and Rhinelander players that have made this rivalry a great one, as Antigo coach John Milkey would explain.
Some of the games that Antigo and Rhinelander have put forward, some of the most unbelievable games that have ever been played across this state. I think the Rhinelander players, the Antigo players walk off the floor with a mutual admiration for one another. I think in many ways the communities are very, very similar. You know, two of the smaller schools in the conference competing with or against much larger schools. And the only way you can be successful if that is the situation is when a community bands together and you get people helping to develop whatever skill you have. And so, people from Rhinelander, I can't tell you how much respect I have for your programs. You have a rich basketball tradition that I guess I see just continuing.
Because of that great rivalry situation, the Antigo folks asked either Jason or Troy Doring to say a few words, having both played against Kurt Herman.
My brother was unable to be here this evening, but I feel honored to take his place and be here tonight. My freshman season, I was fortunate enough to play against Kurt Herman, and played him twice during the regular season and once during the off season. I remember the off season game like it was yesterday. There's 2 minutes left in the game. I fouled out. I was sitting over on the bench, and we were up by 1 point. And Kurt Herman brought the ball off the floor, and 30 seconds left, he penetrated the lane and passed it down to Matuszewski, who scored the game-winning bucket. That's just the kind of competitor that he was. He reminds me of someone really close to me, my brother, person that laid it on the line night in and night out and would do anything for the team just to get the victory. And a kind of person that I have the utmost respect for. And, on behalf of Rhinelander, the city of Rhinelander, I'd like to honor him by giving his parents this shirt with his number on it in his remembrance. Thank you.
And one final tribute for Kurt Herman, his jersey in a frame for his parents. Our hearts definitely go out to them on this night. Great ceremony, and now a game to play. And for the players who sat around for a good 20-25 minutes, a challenge to see whether they were limbered up enough to come out firing. One aspect the Hodags really haven't faced this year is great height. But Fred Nyforth at 6'8" shows Rhinelander's Brad Jelinek that they will have to contend with it on this night. But Brad shows a good way to deal with that height. Shoot from the outside. The early basket gives Rhinelander a 2-0 lead. Moments later, though, the Robins tying things up. Keith Walter feeding Seth Thomas inside to tie the score at 2. But no doubt about it, both teams did come out shooting the ball rather coldly, at least in the initial stages of the game. Antigo grabs its first lead of the night, the three-pointer from Keith Walter. Through the first 4 minutes of the contest, we had a combined score of 7 points. The Hodags had not scored a basket for nearly 4 minutes when finally Matt Went gets the rebound, puts it in, and draws the foul as well. Matt would miss the free throw, but on the other end, he comes up with a big defensive play here as he gets the stuff on Brent Viergutz. And on the other end, Casey Drake with the basket to give the Hodags the lead once again at 6-5. We know Antigo's strength through the years has been defense and three-point shooting, and Walter looks to be the successor in that category, his second of the night, puts Antigo up 8-6. But the Hodags tie it. Casey Drake finding Teague Orgerman inside, and the game was knotted at 8. Other end, more defense from Wentz, another big block, this one coming against Jason Newton. The Hodags will hold for the last shot of the first quarter. Teague finding Went inside. Matt can't get the shot to go. And as the first quarter comes to an end, Rhinelander and Antigo all tied up at 8. As we start the second quarter, the Hodags get a little more scoring punch off the bench. Matt Perenick, nice move to break free inside. But Antigo will respond. This time it's Jaron Thomas hitting the shot. Game tied at 10. The Hodags would miss their next time down, but Antigo won't, as it's Jaron Thomas feeding Veer Gutz, and Antigo led 12-10. One guy really doing a lot to help Rhinelander stay close is Went. Comes up with another loose ball here and puts it in to tie the score at 12. And then Rhinelander starts to separate themselves after a three-pointer from Jelinek. Brad hits another shot, as he would have a big first half for the Hodags, and Rhinelander leads 16-13. But Antigo will stay close themselves. Joe Flannery posting up inside. Nice power move for the basket to cut it to a one-point game. Despite Antigo's pretty much height advantage, the Hodags able to do a good job inside and getting some key rebounds. Ryan Catilla here, nice way to get to go in as well. That put the Hodags up 6, and then next trip down, it's Jelinek hitting another three at 11 points in the first half, and the Hodags led 25-17 at that point of the game. Rhinelander won't stop there, as it's Casey Drake. Despite a tough night so far shooting, will finally get the roll on this one, and the Hodag lead was at 10. Antigo coach John Milkey can't be pleased by the first half performance, because giving up 20 points in a quarter, almost unheard of for Antigo. But Rhinelander did that, 20 points in the second quarter to lead 28-17 at the break. And for Coach Fortier, a very good start for his team.
You know, Brad Jelinek is a good shooter. He got some good looks. He made some shots for us, and I think he was the difference offensively in the first half. To build a lead like that here in Antigo is pretty nice, and we just kind of fed off that for the rest of the game.
Indeed, the Hodags continue to play patient basketball in the second half. Teague Orgerman early driving in, the Rhinelander lead at 13 now. Meanwhile, the Robins continue to struggle from three-point land, missing their first three opportunities of the second half. Instead, they go inside. Fred Nyford. Rhinelander would do an excellent job defensively all night, not really giving the Robins too many good shot opportunities, forcing a number of turnovers as well. Catilla with another steal. But the third quarter was not kind to either team's shooting percentage. Only a combined 5 points for the first 6 minutes of the quarter. Finally for Antigo, with under 30 seconds, Keith Walter hitting the three brings the Robins to within 8. Only 3 points for the Hodags in the entire quarter. No field goals after the first few seconds. So we head to the fourth with Antigo still in the game, trailing 31-23. In the fourth quarter, Rhinelander sets the tempo early using defense. Teague Orgerman, the steal, got fouled, and he'd make both free throws. Skip ahead with Rhinelander leading by 10. Teague doing a nice job to save it. On the other side, finding Mike Foster. Pretty basket for Foster, 37-25 Hodag. And give the Hodag defense credit again, as they would not let the Robins get within single digits. Now on the other end, it's Teague to Catilla to Went. Matt with 8 big points on the night. That put the Hodags up 13, but Walters answers for Antigo. One of his threes on the night en route to a 14-point game. Now the Robins would close to within 9. A chance to cut it even more, but Foster forces the steal. And then Orgerman, perfect pass for Drake, who puts it in. That was a big basket for the Hodags. Robins forced to put up the three, but this time Walter won't hit it. Instead, the Hodags with the long rebound, and Teague with the finish, as he ends up with a game-high 12 for Rhinelander. The Final moments of the contest, the Hodags benefit from an Antigo technical, and Casey Drake hits 4 straight free throws as he ends up with 8 points on the night. For the Hodags, it adds up to a good win by a final score of 49-36. The Hodags' first ever win on this new Antigo home court.
We knew that they would play great defense and we would have to pick our spots when we could attack them, and I think we did that for the most part. When we didn't do that, when we hurried our shots, we weren't scoring, and I thought we really did that in the first quarter. After that, I think we settled down. We waited till the opening came, and when it came, we attacked the opening, and we did a nice job. It is tough to win here. I don't know what it is. We're 1 for 6 or 7 as the Rhinelander Hodags now in this court and on this court and in this gym, and to win here on the road against any team, but add to it that they're Antigo on a tough night to play, really says a lot about our kids right now, and hopefully we can continue this.
So a good game for Rhinelander to win anytime you win in Antigo obviously is very good, and the Hodags had not won in that gymnasium, and so for head coach Rich Fortier, he had to feel very good about how things ended up going for his Rhinelander Hodag team. Well, Rhinelander will definitely have another tough game coming up this week, as Friday night they host Stevens Point, and by virtue of their loss to Wausau West, the Panthers dropped into a first-place tie with the Hodags, and so Rhinelander and Point should be a very good one. Make sure you get out and support the Hodags Friday night in Rhinelander. We're going to take a break and come back with more right after this. But Rhinelander, one of those games came Friday night, as the Hodags, once beaten, would host the once beaten Stevens Point Panthers, and a win for either team would move them into sole possession of first place in the Valley Conference. And so you knew it was going to be a rocking night in Rhinelander, and it turned out to be a very fun ball game. A packed house on hand to witness what would be a first-place showdown between two good teams in the Valley. The Panthers, a very junior-dominated team, only 2 seniors on their whole roster. One of those juniors, Josh Hall, nice move to give Point an early 2-0 lead. Meanwhile, the Hodags really struggling from the floor, missing several opportunities and going scoreless for the first several minutes of the game. And the Panthers will take advantage. Nick Bennett canning the 3-pointer to give Point a 5-0 lead. Nothing going right for the Hodags early on. Mike Foster comes up with a steal, but when he goes to make the shot, he's blocked big time by Bennett. And the Panthers coming the other way, finding one of those only 2 seniors, Pete Frederick. Although he misses the basket, he grabs the rebound, puts it in, and SPASH led it 7-0. The Hodags had gone 3 minutes without scoring, and Rich Fortier taking the timeout to settle down his team. Clearly, Rhinelander needing an offensive spark, but you wouldn't have necessarily picked this guy. Matt Wendt, the big forward for the Hodags, hitting a 3-pointer from the outside, Rhinelander's first points of the game. The Hodags won't wait long for their next basket. Off the steal, Teague Orgeman puts it in, cutting it to a 7-5 game. Panthers respond for the moment. Off the miss, John Ollie gets the rebound and then muscles his way in for the basket to make it 9-5. Well, Rhinelander had found a hot hand, and the Hodags sticking with him as Orgeman finds Wendt, and Matt with a pretty move in the lane to hit it, cutting it to 2 again. There's one guy you really need to be careful of on Point. This guy, only 5'9", but Casey Taggett really can stroke the 3 and hit that one for the Panthers. On Point's next possession, Taggett showing he's pretty good inside as well, kind of hanging and hitting that one. The Panther lead had grown to 7 once again at 14-7. But Rhinelander will come back, and it will be on Matt Wendt. Turnaround jumper, and the Hodags back to within 5. Wendt with 7 of Rhinelander's first 9 points, not doing too bad a job on the rebounding end of things either. Rhinelander seeming to have found a weakness on the Panthers, maybe inside, posting up. Ryan Catilla, basket and the foul. Considering the way things had started for Rhinelander, they ended pretty well. Despite Drake missing the drive, he really had a tough first quarter shooting. The Hodags only trail by 3, 14-11. A lot of that because of the play of Matt Wendt.
Wendt comes down and hits a 3-pointer. We've been telling him all day, or at least all week in practice, we were saying, Matt, if a big kid gives you a shot here for a 3-point attempt, take it. And don't be afraid, because he's a shooter, and he drains his first 3-point attempt of his career to get us going. And then he scored another hoop after that. It reminded me a lot of Dustin Preby when he did that at Pulaski, when we're down 8-0 coming out of the gate, and Dusty comes out and gets 2 quick hoops for us. Matt did the same thing, kind of jump-started us, got us going, and from there we just battled back and forth until we took the lead at the end of the first half.
We head to the second quarter, and Rhinelander gets off to a good start. 2 straight baskets from Catilla. The Hodags actually lead 15-14. But the Panthers come right back, scoring a pair of baskets, including one, a three-point one, and that coming from Taggets again, 19-15 SPASH. The Hodags would fall behind 21-15 before heating up again, and it's Casey Drake, despite having a tough time outside, just hangs with it and fights for the nice move inside. And that seemed to get Casey going, because next trip down for Rhinelander, it's Matt Pernick finding him cutting in the lane, and his second basket of the night has the Hodags back to within 2. And suddenly this game getting very intense. Watch here as Drake and Pete Frederick get tied up, and Drake gets the atomic power bomb from Frederick, and a jump ball called in that one. Casey lives to tell about it. A timeout will try to settle both teams down. We said earlier, Rhinelander trying to go inside more, but with Frederick in there, a little tougher to do. However, the Hodags catch a break. Frederick whistled for foul number 3, and fortunately he didn't get a technical on that one as well, but he'll go to the bench for the rest of the half. Rhinelander will finally tie things up. Drake finding Teague. Those two guys sure work well together. The game knotted at 24. What follows is some nice Hodag defense. Taggets throws it away. Drake picks it up. Casey going for the lay-in, misses it, but Teague is there to follow up. Rhinelander leads at 26-24. The Panthers need to stop the Hodag momentum. For the moment they do, Ollie with the shot. And the Panthers actually regain the lead with just over a minute when it's Hall driving in and scoring, 30-28 Panthers. Rhinelander will hold for one last shot, and what a last shot this turns out to be, as Wendt finds Dan Karnoski in the game off the bench, drills the 3 to give Rhinelander a 31-30 lead as the half comes to an end. Everybody going crazy. How about Dan Karnoski?
That set the momentum right there to put us into the halftime with a 1-point lead, and I think in the third quarter we outscored them by 14, and I think really a lot of it was keyed on Danny's huge 3 to get the crowd going, and not that they weren't going, but to get them going and really believe it, and the kids started believing that we could take it from there, and then we did.
The third quarter would be good to Rhinelander. Drake driving in, finds Wendt. Man, another 2 on his way to a 13-point night. And then a little Rhinelander hustle. Wendt coming up with it, gets it over to Teague, and Orgeman drains the little jumper. He had 15 points on the night. And this time it was Point's turn to struggle from the floor. The Panthers couldn't score for the first 3 minutes of the half, and Rhinelander really taking advantage as Teague finding Drake this time, and Casey puts it in and draws the foul as well. Rhinelander starting to blow it open. In fact, it'll be a 10-1 run to start the third for Rhinelander. Drake now heating up from the outside, hits the 3 to make it 41-31 Hodags. Drake would score 9 points in the third quarter, and another guy heating up would be Cotilla. 2 straight baskets from Ryan, and Rhinelander had a 47-33 advantage. You get a real sense of the fun Rhinelander having when Drake cans another 3. Rhinelander playing loose, playing aggressively, and just having a lot of fun, leading 50-35. The Panthers would score only 1 basket the entire quarter, the rest on free throws, and trail 52-37 as we head to the fourth. In that fourth quarter, Rhinelander just putting things away with some nice contributions from everybody. Matt Pernick flying in for the rebound basket. Teague Orgeman draining the 3. And how about the play of Ryan Cotilla? 25 points on the night to lead all scorers, a career high for the Hodag senior. He had 13 points in the fourth quarter alone when Rhinelander would really blow things open. And for the Rhinelander players who were at point for that season finale last year, winning a game like this had to be a little bit of sweet revenge. Rhinelander scoring 43 points in the second half, limiting the Panthers to only 27, and Rhinelander wins it 74-57 to move into sole possession of first place in the Valley Conference. That's it for Sports Weekly. We'll see you next time. I'm Al Quartermont.
Question.